synchronization file. Hi everyone, it is time for another fun and interesting and useful, hopefully, After Effects tutorial. If you watched my wedding video, then you saw this one shot that I used during the parent dances. Actually multiple shots when there was bright blue lights on the dance floor. Took that and made the entire scene monochrome or grayscale, and then hi mom. And then took the blue from the lights and made it highlighting the scene. Go away, Premiere. I'll come back to you. So we've got the original shot here. We're just going to drag that into a new timeline and rename the timeline Pre-Comp for pre-composition. And then we're going to duplicate that with Edit Duplicate. You can also use Control D or Command D, depending on your platform, and rename that to Main. Now this shot works very well for it because it's got that intense blue light, and there's very little blue elsewhere in the shot. And if this is something that you want to recreate, you're going to need to ensure that it's the same way on whatever set that you're working on location, on set, whatever. Maybe if you're in a military base and you have bright red lights for an alert, and everything else is monochrome, make sure that there's no red in your costumes or anything like that. And this should work pretty well. So okay, we're in our pre-composition. Duplicate your footage. Again, I'm just going to use Control D. And on the top layer, we're going to add the channel mixer effect. So that's under color correction and channel mixer. Then we're going to isolate the color that we want to feature. Now this really only works well if you're using a primary color such as red, green, or blue. In this case we're using blue, so we're turning everything else to 0. You can play around with trying to get it to look right by maybe taking the blue and making it red as well so that we get this purple going on, but later on in the process that ends up not looking so great. We'll take a look later. Stick to primary colors and you'll be fine. If you want to use other colors, make sure you test this out and play with the channel mixer yourself before you go and do your shoot. It's kind of where the most finicky stuff can happen if you're using something other than the 3 primary colors. So okay, our pre-composition is here. We've got this turned blue. Now, right click and change the top layer's blending mode to linear burn. This is also available by going through Layer Blending Mode, Linear Burn. And this makes it so that we've got the blue lights and the highlighted blue light that was cast onto them, and the hair lights here. So that's looking pretty cool. Now we just need to get that on top of the monochrome background. Come back up to your main timeline here. Take that layer and do what you need to do to make it monochrome. I'm using color correction, hue saturation, and dragging saturation all the way down. It's the easy way to do it. Boom, there we go. Now drag your pre-composition on top of that layer. Make sure it lines up. And change its blending mode to add. Bing, bang, boom. There you go. You've now got your shot that is monochrome, but has our blue lighting coming in and highlighting it. I mentioned that the colors kind of look a little weird once, I don't know if it's the linear burn that's doing it, but if we try to add some red coming from the blue channel, then we get that purple, but it's not quite matching up right. You know, maybe I'm doing it wrong. You know, what happens if I go here? That's just more blue. So it's stuff that you can play around with, certainly, but again, if you stick to the primary RGB, then you should be all set. So there you go. There is the effect. We've got the monochrome with the blue on top. Hopefully you can find a use for this. Like I said, I can think of like the red alert for a military base. Otherwise, it's kind of up to your imagination. I look forward to seeing what you can do with it. If you enjoyed this, if you learned something, let me know. Be sure to check out my previous tutorial, which is anamorphic lens flare, like for visual effects. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask. If it's something that you'd like to see me do a tutorial on that you've seen me use before, I'm not great with stuff, but I can sometimes figure stuff out. Feel free to leave a comment and ask, especially if it's something that I've done before. I can tell you how to do that. Otherwise, I hope you enjoyed the video, and I will see you next week.